Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Paul on Politics live on KMTV. I'm joined on the line by Conservative Sittingbourne and Sheppey MP Gordon Henderson, Labour Kent County Councillor Karen Constantine and former Liberal Democrat MEP Anthony Hook. Thanks to all three of you for joining us. Karen, let's bring you in now. Karen Constantine, a Labour Kent County Councillor. Karen, we saw some of the disruption at Manston just before Christmas and a lot of people said, oh, it might be a sign of things to come. We haven't seen that disruption yet, but do you think that could happen again?
I'm not sure, actually. I'd like to think that it wouldn't happen again, but I would reserve judgment on that. I mean, as you've got the chief executive of the port saying that, you know, the new year is always a slow start. Recent traffic from Belgium and France has been very slow, you know, so we're not seeing the full impacts of this. I mean, some people are talking about the current Brexit situation as possibly a slow puncture, but I think there's some real issues that are outstanding. I think we've got supply shock. I still think we could see problems in the supermarkets. I still think we could see the costs of this passed on to the consumer. And I think there's a whole raft of things that aren't quite right and remains for this government to put those things right.
Gordon, would you agree with that?
You know, this idea that we're going to find the supermarkets short of food, the prices are going to go up, is total nonsense. It's absolute nonsense because the deal we've got is a no-tariff deal, no quota deal with the EU, which means that prices won't have to go up. And if anything is going to happen, it's going to mean that we are, as a country, going to see, hopefully, perhaps more UK-based manufacturing rather than relying on manufacturing from the EU countries.
Now, throughout the programme, we'll be asking some of your questions from viewers at home. So if you want to get involved with the conversation and put your questions to some of our panellists, head over to our social media at KMTV_Kent. We've got one here from Vince in Chatham. I'm going to come to Gordon again for this one. Do those on the panel who advocated for leaving the European Union accept that our country is now less safe because of no access to Europol and access to real-time sensitive data sharing agreements such as the Schengen Information System?
Look, it would be helpful if we were part of that database, and I suspect in the not too distant future, we will still have access to it because it's in their interest, it's in the European interest to allow us to have databases because they require a lot of information from us as well. And look, let's remember, we had Interpol before we had anything else, and that was before we had the EU in its current form. So there will always be cooperation across Europe to actually defeat criminals and to bring down crime. That's still going to happen.
Karen, I'll come to you next. Another question from Rita in Twiddle. And it's a second to the point that we've just been discussing. How will our security be affected after Brexit, or now that we've had Brexit? Will we still be involved in sharing these security and terrorist threats as it evolves? Do you have any concerns over that?
Well, I do have concerns. I mean, we just heard Gordon say it. There will always be cooperation across Europe. But of course, we're not in Europe. And I think actually it's kind of, it's hope that there will be some cooperation. But it remains to be seen. It's not part of the deal. We haven't got that on the table. We're going to have to negotiate it. But I think the more significant issues are to do with where is the money for the NHS? We were promised £350 million per week, £18 billion per year. That's not materialising. You know, there are a lot of questions that still need to be answered, and particularly at this moment in time, where we can see the NHS under pressure. We need that £18 billion, Gordon, to come into the NHS, and we need it really fast because we've got a massive shortage of nurses, doctors and other clinicians. And maybe now we're out of the European Union, we can tackle those issues and we can put that money into the NHS because, frankly, that's what your government promised people. Time to deliver on your promise, I think.